listening.
Visiting team, you'll call the toss. What is your call? Tails is the call.
It's a blustery, beautiful Saturday afternoon for college football in Northwest Ohio. It's homecoming at Bowling Green State University, where the tailgate game is very strong. The Ohio Bobcats are in town to take on the Falcons of Bowling Green, and we are set for football in the Mid-American Conference here at Doint Perry Stadium.
Gentlemen, shake hands.
And welcome everybody, along with Marcus Ray. I'm Doug Sherman. So glad you're here with us, with the visitors from Ohio coming off a tremendous victory. Their last time out, they beat Iowa State 10-7, and they rely very heavily on their quarterback. We're going to highlight the two quarterbacks in this game, and for Curtis Rourke, he is about as good as anybody in the MAC.
Curtis Rourke is big time. He has big time talent. He understands this offense. He's cerebral, and you'll see his patience, his poise in the pocket, the way he scans the field. He does not beat himself and make very many mistakes. This is what I really like about him. He can extend plays and get outside the pocket, and he keeps his eyes downfield. Watch how he slides to his left and keeps his eyes down the field and throws a touchdown pass.
He has a bright future, potentially could be a pro, just like his older brother Nathan, the former Bobcats All-Star, who is with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Curtis, healthy and back on the field this afternoon. Meanwhile, the same could be said for Connor Bazelak. Missed last week's game at Michigan, but he's good to go here today, Marcus.
He's good to go, and the one thing about him, he's a playmaker. You see him making plays in space, getting downfield, but they like to use him in the triple option RPO system, where they use play action, and they want to get those linebackers out of the center of the field right there to open up down the field seam throws. This is what I like about him, too. He will stay alive and keep his eyes and make the right throw.
Coming out of high school, he was a top 200 national recruit, went to Missouri for 3 years. In fact, he was the 2020 SEC Co-Freshman of the Year. Lots of talent. Bazelak looking for a big game here this afternoon on homecoming at BGSU. And as mentioned, it is blustery. Beautiful sunshine, terrific crowd, and we are set for a Mid-American Conference showdown. And no surprise, going to have somebody hold the football on the tee after Ohio won the toss and deferred. Bowling Green going to get the football first, and the wind is gusting and blustery. And the best I can tell to begin the game, Ohio is kicking with the wind, and not surprisingly, the kick goes sailing through the end zone, and BGSU will start this football game at its own 25-yard line. And there is Connor Bazelak, the 6'3" senior from just down the road in Dayton, Ohio, out of Archbishop Alter. Now, he's a grad transfer with 2 years of eligibility following his 3 years at Missouri and then last season with Indiana.
Young man has he checks the boxes. He's 6'3", 225. He's played a lot of football. This is the type of quarterback Scott Loeffler and his offense needs as they've revamped some things from 2022.
And Scott Loeffler said this may be the most challenging week of his head coaching career. Incomplete pass trying to find the Washington transfer Austin Osborne, because Bowling Green did not make it out of the big house without lots of injuries. And it looks like we've got a little excitement between the big boys in the trenches after the first play. But it'll be interesting to see just who's healthy. Scott Loeffler and his staff didn't know who they were going to have at midweek. Finally, a couple guys started working their way back to practice Wednesday, Thursday, but he's still not sure who's available.
Yeah, it was Thursday, and he still was wide open as far as his game plan and just trying to check his roster. But it looks like these guys are getting lined up, and on that first down pass, they tried to sneak a 5-yard gain.
Screen pass caught. Out across the 30-yard line after the pass completion. And there is Tim Albin, the MAC Coach of the Year a year ago. He has been with this program for 19 years. Longtime lieutenant under the great Frank Solich.
Oh, Frank Solich, man, longtime great coach. I remember his days at Nebraska when I was at Michigan. But this guy here, the program was in great hands. They started off a little slow, and then he turned that thing around. And his defense right now played lights out a week ago. We'll see if they can get a third down stop here.
And those Nebraska roots run deep. That ball just slips loose, and it's picked off. Ball's loose on the turf. Bowling Green thinks it got the football back. What a wild play, and I don't know how much the wind had to do with that.
Let's take a look here. He had good protection. The ball just slips out of his right hand. He just lost control of the football.
The ruling on the field is an interception, fumbled, recovered by the original offense. It'll be 1st and 10, Bowling Green.
So Keith Thompson from Barberton, Ohio, same hometown as the head coach for Bowling Green, Scott Loeffler, had the interception but then coughed it up. So BG catches a break, gets the football back, and will have 1st down at just about the same place they started.
Yeah, and they may take a look just to see if OU fumbled that football. The ground may have caused the fumble on the interception.
And again, it looked like
the previous play is under further review.
Slipped out of the throwing hand of Bazelak with the wind not having anything to do with it. But Bowling Green here in this 1st quarter is driving into the wind. And so if the call stands, BG will catch a break as we take another look.
The ball just got away from Bazelak, and it's picked off. Keith Thompson, it looked like. 38 to linebacker. The majority of interceptions that come from tips and overthrows, and we just need to see, as Thompson is running that football, does the ball come out after he hits the ground? That's what the officials are looking for right there. He's saying he's down. The unfortunate for Bowling Green, though, if Ohio gets the football here with the field position and early turnover, but it would benefit Bowling Green if they did rule this a fumble and he's able to, and they're able to start that drive off. Does the ball start to come out right there before the knee comes down? Did he really lose possession right there? Looks like that ball's on the ground, or his hand is underneath it, but that's what they're reviewing.
Well, they've got to see indisputable video evidence to overturn the call, which on the field was a fumble recovered by Bowling Green. Keith Thompson, one of the captains for this Ohio team.
There was an interception by Ohio, but the runner was down prior to the fumble. It'll be 1st down and 10 at the 28-yard line. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 14 minutes and 19 seconds.
There you go, the two head coaches processing that. Scott Loeffler, your former teammate at the University of Michigan back in the mid-90s. And so the first break of the game goes toward the Bobcats. And there's a look at Curtis Rourke, the 3-time captain of this team from Oakville, Ontario. Hands it off to C.A. Bangura, the 6th leading rusher this year in the Mid-American Conference, averaging about 65 yards per game. Still looking for his 1st touchdown, but he's very, very productive. Last year's
formation, offense, more than 4 in the backfield. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Here the penalty is just telling you Bangura, last year's freshman of the year in the conference.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 14:12.
Where should our eyes go when Ohio's on offense here, Marcus?
We're going to start with this 6'5" quarterback, 231 pounds, MAC Offensive Player of the Year, Rourke. I think the quick, short passing game can substitute for the run game, especially after a penalty, is something that you'll look for.
Rourke, quick strike. Pass is caught near the original line of scrimmage to Miles Cross, junior from Bowie, Maryland. And he actually is going to lose a little bit of yardage. He had appeared in all 30 games, Cross, since arriving in Athens back in 2021, but he missed last week's game. The big upset victory over Iowa State. First time in 6 years Ohio has taken down a power conference opponent. Trying to build on that with a conference game here this afternoon. 2nd and a long 10. Rourke under pressure, gets rid of the football, has a wide open receiver inside the 10, reaching for the pylon. C.A. Bangura out of the backfield scores, and Ohio takes the early lead.
You want to talk about big time throw? Rolling to your right. I like the call too. Right in the strike zone. Plus 25, 30. Watch. It's just a play action throwback. But he throws the ball rolling to his right, across his body back to the left. That's why NFL scouts are drooling over this young man, Rourke. I like the play call. Great execution.
Ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under for the review.
We're going to check for that spot to see if he really got in.
Well, he got the football inside the pylon, it appeared. But was his footwork clean? Was he in bounds as that football reached across the goal line inside the pylon?
That's what they're checking right there.
As long as that right foot was in bounds, I think it'll stand.
And he's actually in the air when he reaches out the football. Great job by our crew. You pause it right there, and you'll see both feet are off the ground. That's what they're checking to see. Do they cross the plane? And if you're in the air, are you still in play? I think that's the question we're looking for.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So there you go. The hookup between Rourke and Bangura stands. And Ohio draws first blood on this homecoming afternoon at Bowling Green. And so Gianni Spedic, freshman from Chardon, Ohio, who puts in his bio, I'm 100% Croatian. He's from a soccer family. His older brother Emilio is a senior soccer player at Division III Mount Union in Alliance, Ohio. With the wind at his back, out of the hold of the punter, Jared Wheatley. The Bobcats take advantage of the interception to get on the board first in less than 2 minutes. After his touchdown pass, his third of the season, to go along with a couple of interceptions. And he's got himself a good combination with C.A. Bangura, who was wide open coming out of the backfield, Marcus.
You have to play everybody honest on this field. Ohio University makes people defend the entire field. And if you fall asleep, Bangura will wake you up. And what he did was ran just a backdoor wheel route, throwback. Rourke did a fine job of selling that play. It was play action, thought it was a regular bootleg pass, and he stopped. He didn't even stop. He just threw it back across his body. And that's the type of confidence that NFL scouts are talking about. He can make all the throws, and he just showed you one of them.
Alex C.A. will kick off for Ohio. Football stays on the tee all by itself this time. He sends another boomer toward the end zone. And it'll be another touchback for the Falcons, who come into this game with a 1-2 record. Still looking for their first FBS win of the year. And Scott Loeffler, a year ago, went 6-6 and then lost to New Mexico State in the Quick Lane Bowl. But they have been progressing. As we have a flag on the field.
Offside, kicking team number 10. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And so a break for Bowling Green. But it's interesting in talking to some of the Falcons, and most notably their veteran middle linebacker, Darren Andrews. He said, when I got here in 2019, the whole culture, it wasn't right. Really no leadership among the players. Down the seam and a big hit level to jar the football loose and out of the hands of the would-be receiver.
You see Justin Burchett just making a play. I like the play call. Coach Loeffler getting aggressive, throwing a seam route. But this defense, this Ohio Bobcat defense is relentless in pursuit. They're disciplined. They will make you pay. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder in 2023.
Yeah, Jamal Johnson couldn't haul it in. Keep it on the ground between the tackles. Off the first hit, Terrion Stewart, who is so good in tight spaces, comes up with positive yardage. The sophomore from Memphis, Tennessee, who plays high school football just about an hour east of here in Sandusky. Averaging 5.5 yards per carry as he looks to have a little bit of a limp, perhaps heading over to the sideline.
And he's a tank, 5'9", 225. Yeah. He's tough to bring down, but he shows good vision in the holes, quick feet, and he falls forward.
Bazelak takes the snap. On the slant, did the receiver pull it in? Abdul Fattah Ibrahim. It is incomplete. And so that will bring up 4th down. Looked like the ball was placed pretty well.
It sure was. And actually, when they lined up and went in that motion outside, that was to create a matchup to where they wanted Ibrahim matched up on a safety. Because normally when he lines up outside, you're on the corner. But when you line up inside, then you motion, changes the matchup.
Sammy Sir, the 27-year-old punter from Oak Park, Australia. Into the wind. That is a beauty. And the fair catch is made at the 20-yard line by Tyler Walton, a redshirt 5th year from St. Louis. And so a quick 3 and out has the Ohio offense trotting back out onto the field.
Yeah, last week Bowling Green went toe-to-toe with Michigan for a long time. They created 4 turnovers. They had some missed opportunities. Coach Leffler told us there was an RPO and guys were open. And now that they have some injuries and they are playing a different opponent, and Ohio University is nothing to sneeze at. You can't miss opportunities. You can't have 3rd down drops and drop balls on 1st and 2nd down as well.
Curtis Rourke under pressure, puts it up, has a man at midfield. A huge play on 1st down for the Bobcats, all the way inside the 40-yard line. Jacoby Jones, one of their big play receivers, trying to get his season going.
Watch the pass protection here. Rourke stays in the pocket and just sails one to Jones. Right over the shoulder, stride for stride with the defender, and he threw him open. He actually ran a double move. That's what caused a little bit of hesitation and separation as well.
Picked up 41 yards. Rourke gives. Up the middle, Bangura had a good hole. Nice pickup on 1st down for Ohio.
I like the misdirection. When you send a man in motion, it gets the defense's eyes out of position. Because one of the things Steve Morrison, the defensive coordinator, told us, co-coordinator, that he wants his guys to play with better eye discipline, and it just got tested on that play.
Morrison with those duties, along with Sammy Lowanson, the co-defensive coordinators at Bowling Green this year. On 2nd down, Rourke, plenty of time. Over the middle, has a man wide open again. Juggled but brought in by Sam Wiglis, the grad transfer from Ohio State. 20th catch of the year, top 5 in the MAC.
Well, you'll see Rourke just putting on a show right now. He's showing you he can make the throws and read defenses. It's going to be tough for Bowling Green to send that type of pressure and stunt those defensive linemen. If they don't get anyone in his face, then he will dial you up, and especially right in between the hashes.
That one went for 20 yards. Ohio in the red zone. Not even 5 minutes into the game, trying to take a 2-touchdown lead. Bangura straight up the middle. Tough sledding this time. Anders among those driving the ball carrier back. Right in the middle, big Dontez Brown, the defensive tackle from Fremont, Ohio.
Fremont Ross High School, the home of Charles Woodson. You start making plays like that. Must be from Fremont. I think they needed just a positive play on defense right there. And it really starts up front. And he has to do that more often. You got to get some penetration if you're the Falcons to disrupt this offense.
Showing pressure, that BG defense. Where will it come from if it comes? Rourke adjusts with time on the play clock. They give it up the middle to Bangura. And again, that Bowling Green defensive front standing tall. Well, no surprise, Darren Anders in the mix. That is his 296th career tackle. He is 10th all-time among active defensive players in the country and getting very close to number 300.
That's a lot of tackles.
Yeah, it is.
That means he's active, he's smart, he plays with his hands, he understands the defense and the system, and he plays with gap integrity, meaning he doesn't run all sideline to sideline, he moves with his gap. If you have 300 tackles, he made a lot of plays.
3rd and 7 from the 10. Rourke, pass deflected. in the end zone. Touchdown, Will Kazmarek. The Bobcats catch another break to take a 13-0 lead.
Some people would rather be good than lucky. I think the Ohio Bobcats are both right now. That right there is a missed opportunity, and one of the rare times you're going to see Rourke throw the ball in traffic, and he didn't see the backside defender. But tips and overthrows normally happen on interceptions. They happen on touchdown passes as well.
Well, Kazmarek's first career touchdown came on the 9th of September at Florida Atlantic. Now he's got another one. Redshirt sophomore from St. Louis helps to make it 13-0. The point after gives Ohio a 14-0 lead. In the blink of an eye, the Falcons are on their heels on homecoming. Everything going the Bobcats' way early here at BG. On the receiving end of a tipped 10-yard touchdown pass. Big number 55, Evan Branch Haynes, got a piece of it, but it went right to the tight end for the Bobcats, who take a 14-0 lead.
I like the call by Bowling Green. It's a zone blitz where you drop out defensive linemen, and Rourke didn't see it. And fortunately, the ball got tipped, caught in the end zone. It's a missed opportunity for Bowling Green right there, but it's been that kind of day so far.
And so Alex Casey will tee it up for a third time already, not even 7 minutes into the football game, with the wind at his back. And now the ball again falls off the tee, and we will have one of the Bobcats come from his spot along the line of scrimmage to hold the football. That is Dylan Stevens, number 34 in white. Ohio opened the season with a loss at San Diego State. In that game, Curtis Rourke went down with injury. Lost by a touchdown, and have strung together 3 consecutive wins. Home over Long Island, at Florida Atlantic, and then the big one against Iowa State. 10-7 last week, and when they've got that man on the field, Curtis Rourke, they are in position to beat a lot of people, and he follows in the footsteps of his older brother, Nathan, who also was an all-MAC quarterback, who, after having a record-setting season last year in the Canadian Football League, got himself into the Jacksonville Jaguars training camp this year, and had a superb preseason, Marcus, made the practice squad. And there are a lot of similarities between the two, although I'm told Curtis has a little goofball in him. But they both have good size, both have good arm strength, and younger brother off to a good start here today.
Definitely.
Bazelak with the short pass, caught out to the 25-yard line. Teron Keith on the receiving end.
See OJ right there with a 5-yard out. This young man, 6 foot, 185 pounds. One of those Alabama and A&M transfers. They've got to find a way to get some explosive plays with him down the field and find a matchup. Bowling Green offensively believes that if you got time to throw the ball, there's some holes in this OU defense.
Keep it on the ground, bounce it outside. Terrion Stewart beats the man to the edge, breaks a tackle. Out toward midfield, Stewart still on his feet. Finally driven out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
You got a receiver like OJ catching passes. He's got 10 for 134 in the year. Then you can turn around and hand it to Terrion Stewart. And I told you, I mean, he's a tank. And he's deceptively fast, hard to bring down. One of the few big plays you'll see against this OU defense. But that's what you have to do. You have to make people miss, force this defense to run to the football. Bowling Green needed that explosive play.
29 yards on the explosive. Puts BG in Ohio's territory. Stewart wrapped up as soon as he got the football, trying to spin away from the pressure, but he couldn't get out of the grips of Bradley Weaver.
So Big Weaver making a play. That's the thing about this Bobcats defense is they go next play. They just took a gut punch from Bowling Green with that long run by Stewart, and the very next play is a tackle for loss. They have a next play mentality.
Stewart out. Jason Patterson, junior running back from Jacksonville, Florida, into the football game. And that is Hilaire. O.J. Hilaire went in motion from the slot left side, looking his direction. Bad pass hauled in. Makes 2 men miss. Oh my, O.J.
Well, we were told OJ has the best hands, and you see why. Watch his one-handed catch going into the wind. If not, that was a turnover. That was going to be an interception. This young man has all the fixings, though. But like I tried to say, 10 catches coming into this game, 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has to be their guy. He has to make more catches like that.
And that extends his streak to, as you see, 39 consecutive games with a catch. Currently 5th longest in the country, now tied with Jaquavius Marks. Here goes Bazelak, and he slides safely. They're going to mark him down at the 32-yard line, but plenty of distance to move the chains. Well, this is what the folks here at Bowling Green State University on homecoming came to this football game to see, not Ohio jump out to a 14-0 lead.
Well, you'll see Bazelak look down the field, and once he realized the defense vacated their pass rush lanes, he just took what the defense gave him. Great decision. Then he decided to slide. You need to get positive plays against a defense as good as Ohio's.
Well, he was injured late 2 weeks ago against Eastern Illinois. Doctors ruled him out from last week's game against Michigan and got himself back to practice on Wednesday. This week, ball is fumbled. Ohio's got it with plenty of room to run. To the 30, to the 20. A fumble recovery for a touchdown for the Ohio Bobcats by Key Thompson. He's got an interception and now a fumble recovery and a 70-yard return for a touchdown. All Ohio here at the Doit.
That's why you run to the football, but it started with the penetration up front with the Bobcats. When you get a lot of hats to the football as they pursue, knock the ball out right there. Looked like Torrey Cox, corner, may have got a hand on it. And then you'll just see Key Thompson. You want to talk about a playmaker? A knack for turnovers? That demoralizes an offense when you can cause a fumble and score. But that's why this defense has been playing lights out, and it's on display right now.
Spedix PAT makes it 21-0. My goodness, Key Thompson just a takeaway machine today for the Bobcats. Single-handedly responsible for this Bobcats defense stepping up and making it tough on BG. Ohio defensive coordinator Spence Nowinski to have 2 sixth-year linebackers. Bryce Houston, a 3-time captain. Key Thompson, the captain and star of football game so far here today. He's got a fumble recovery and then a return for 70 yards that we just saw, in addition to his interception earlier in the football game. And this young man just has really come on.
He's come on, and ironically, he's from Barberton, Ohio, Scott Leffler's hometown, and he's been a thorn in his side all day. But this young man has played a lot of college football. He's trying to get some footage, too, to go to the next level and prove he's a playmaker. He's productive and disruptive. And when you play this type of defense, this style where you're attacking, you're pursuing, it's either feast or famine a lot of times. But right now, they're eating a lot right now on defense.
Marcus, can you name the most famous Barberton High School alumnus? And it's in athletics, and you certainly should be able to come up with us. Here's BG with a good comeback, or rather kick return out to about the 30-yard line. Flag comes in late. Most famous.
Bo Schembechler.
There you go.
Great.
There you go.
Bo Schembechler.
Bo Schembechler from Barberton, same as Scott Leffler, the Bowling Green head coach, your former teammate at the University of Michigan, and the star of this ball game so far, Key Thompson.
During the return, holding, return team, number 24. 10-yard penalty. First down, Bowling Green.
Well, the challenges continue to mount as Tim Albin's Ohio defense continues to be stout.
You see first in points, first total yards, rush yards per game. That includes sacks, interceptions, first, third down percentage. When you're first in all those categories, that's going to increase your chances of winning this conference, or at least playing for it like they did.
Yeah, 6th in the nation, only 245 yards from scrimmage allowed per game. And Bowling Green was in the midst of putting together its first drive on its last possession, but then the fumble recovery thwarted that. Let's see if the Falcons can put something together now late in the first quarter.
The other thing it does when your defense is playing that lights out, the offense doesn't have to force anything. Just like last week, it was a 10-7 ball game. But Ohio didn't have any mistakes as far as fumbles, interceptions, and drops a week ago. Just play to your defense in those situations.
Under pressure, Bazelak finally goes down. He was being wrestled for a while trying to put up a fight, but eventually is sacked by Bonner.
Shane Bonner, 6 foot, 220-pound jack linebacker, if you will. That's essentially an outside linebacker, a stand-up athlete, and they like to use him off the edge. As you see, he makes an up and under move on Alex Padgett. Center, that interior line just got mixed up in their pass protection call. And when you're 6 foot, 220, and you're playing up front, that means you're active. That means you're using your size and speed to get around some of the big fellas.
Whistles blow before the snap.
30-second charge timeout. Bowling Green. Their first of the half.
Uses its first timeout of the half. Well, Coach Leffler has his team 1-2 this year, off to a really slow start here today. What's going through your former teammate's mind right now?
Oh, man, he's thinking about the injuries. He's thinking about last week's game and just how the battle of attrition may is carrying over to this week. They didn't practice on Monday. They had to change the entire week of practice. Now he's just trying to find something. Now, I've been knowing Scott 30 years. He's going to fight and compete, and he knows no one's going to listen to any excuses. When you put 11 out there, you have to execute. And one of his mottos is the expectation is for the position. It's not the player, it's the position. If you're wearing that Falcons uniform, then you better fight and you better scratch and claw when he turns that tape on, win or lose, come this evening.
Well, one of their position groups hit hardest in recent weeks, the tight end spot. Bazelak checks it down, trying to find Andrew Bench, one of his tight ends, and missed him. But when you don't have a big play guy like Harold Fannin, your top receiving tight end, what does that do to change the play calling and the offensive strategy for the Falcons?
It forces the offense to look outside to the perimeter more. And then it takes away your play action game. Tight ends are closer in between the hashes. And when you get good play action off your run game with Stewart and Mosley and those guys, it opens up the middle of the field. And right now they're just not able to do that. So Ohio University can just tee off defensively and not really defend the middle.
The punt is not a good one. Flag down as the ball circles back around midfield and is down at the 49-yard line. And let's see what the laundry's all about.
Down at the 50-yard line, flag on the play.
I think the wind has been a factor, definitely, in Bowling Green's face.
Especially up here in the booth.
Holding. Return team. That penalty enforced 10 yards from the end of the kick. First down, Ohio.
We got everything pinned down, taped down, wind papers blowing everywhere. Well, there's the story. Hosting the Cyclones and beating them 10-7. And Tim Albin says for his team, they've got 5 goals from his Unity Council. TFO, turnovers, field position, and Ohio doesn't beat Ohio. And Marcus, all of those were on full display against the Cyclones last week.
Yeah, you see Bryce Houston with the big game last week. They extended their home streak. First Power 5 win. Well, first win versus Power 5 team in 6 years. And Ohio never trailed in that football game. And they played like it.
Keep it on the ground for first down, or first down rush. O'Shawn Allison. First time we see Allison, the 5th-year senior from Malvern, PA, tote the rock.
Yeah, he's 5'9", 211 pounds. Watch the vision and understanding how to cut and bounce that off his blocks. When you run an inside zone play, that handoff, the running back has 3 options. Bang it up in there, bend it, or bounce it.
Work, who has completed 5 passes to 5 different receivers, has another pass and catch. This time it's again the returning Miles Cross, junior from Bowie, Maryland, back into the lineup for the Bobcats, and that'll move the chains.
Yeah, he's a great route runner, 6'1", 213 pounds. He just ran a comeback route. You'll see a little slight play action, no pressure in Rourke's face. Miles Cross, he's a hard guard because he can run by you, and if you back off too far, he'll snap that route off right in front of you.
And the staff knows what they're going to get from him. He has now appeared in all 31 games. except for last week since arriving in Athens. Allison tries to pick his way to a hole. Nowhere to run, though. Bowling Green's defense sniffed it out.
Joseph Sip, the big fella. 6'2", 220 out of Tampa, Florida. Bowling Green likes to get down in Florida and recruit a lot of MAC schools there.
Flag as the play was blown up. Dontrez Brown made the first hit, and he comes up saying, wait a second, what's the flag for? And it's going to be a hold against Ohio. He was battling with Kurt Daniker, the left guard.
Let's see.
Holding, offense, number 72. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Yeah, once he was beat, he just tackled the rusher. What are you going to do?
Dontrez Brown wreaking havoc. Bowling Green's going to need a lot more of that. And Ohio's not normally in 3rd and 2 sticks most of the time, but can't beat yourself with those penalties either.
Triple receivers to the right. Wiglis, the motion man, set up the screen with blockers. Jacoby Jones able to get a lot of that yardage back, and that truly gives them 4th and manageable if they want to go for it.
They want to talk about it here.
Timeout for an English player on the offense.
And you'll see this is called a wide receiver screen or a tunnel screen, where the outside receiver takes a step up, comes back inside, and all of the linemen, they take one step and then they go right to the receiver and they build a wall. That's a good call. Bowling Green should have been expecting screen, draw. 3rd down is a big screen and draw down, especially on long yardage.
Well, Jones a year ago was one of the big receivers for the Bobcats and for Rourke. He caught 45 passes for 776 yards and 6 touchdowns. The senior year has gotten off to a slower start for the native of Tunica, Mississippi, but a big pass reception there to give the Bobcats an opportunity to go on 4th down and 5 if they so choose, with 1:18 remaining in the first quarter. Tim Albin's team, the defending champs of the MAC East. The last time these two teams squared off was last November with the division title on the line. And the Bobcats beat the Falcons that day 38-14.
We'll see if they come out and go for this on 4th down. And a lot of times it's tough to see when you're looking at personnel as a coach to try to gauge in the box. Hey, are they kicking it? Because when everybody huddles up, you won't know until they run out there.
Well, for Spedick, this would be a career long. He's just a freshman, has a 40-yarder this season. The distance won't be a problem, I wouldn't think, with that gusting wind at his back. Wheatley gets the football down. The kick is up, and it is off the upright, no good. So this time, finally, a break for BG.
Tell you what, Ohio was trying to use the wind while they had it. Kid had the leg. Spedick, and it just bounced off. I've always been amazed that out of all this air and opportunity, how the ball hits the upright so often. Just that one spot in the sky where it just doink.
It's like when you're playing golf. If there's one branch off a tree, you'll find it with your shot. If you tried to hit the branch, or if you tried to hit the upright, you'd never hit it.
Right.
Bowling Green's offense back to work. Big hit. Football held on to nicely. But coming up to make the sure tackle, and no yards after catches, the nickel Adonis Williams Jr.
That's a good play right there. Bowling Green trying to serve up a tunnel screen of their own. That's why this defense is just so lights out. They're fast. Even when you look like you may hit a play, especially on a screen like that, they'll react and they're fast. It's a good-looking kid, too, this Adonis Williams Jr. 6'2", 202 pounds, out of a good program out of the Cleveland Heights, Northeast Ohio.
Well, Hilaire, we have seen his good hands. He managed to hold on to that football for a pickup of 6. This is going to be near the line to gain. Ibrahim, former teammate of Hilaire at Alabama A&M, does get the first down yardage. And that will be the final play of the first quarter.
And that's what you have to do if you're Bowling Green. Use the quick game, quick passing game, because it's a glorified run play, and it keeps the pressure out of your quarterback's face.
The end of the first quarter.
Well, on homecoming, the Falcons have been very gracious hosts, allowing for the Bobcats to come out and storm to a 21-0 lead. Back to the Doit after this. Football should send endless thank you notes to Alabama A&M because they've got two of their best receivers, Odu Hilaire, #1, and Abdul Fattah Ibrahim, #2. And while Hilaire, who last year was second-team All-MAC after 3 years at Alabama A&M as the headliner, Marcus, Ibrahim was an FCS All-American at A&M as we get the second quarter underway. 3-time first-team All-SWAC. And I love what Coach Leffler says about Ibrahim. He's a savage on the perimeter. Watch him block. He's old school. What a great 1-2 punch, both coming from Alabama A&M.
Definitely a good 1-2 punch. These guys know each other. They play together. Probably safe to say they're close friends as well. And great job by Leffler going down there and plucking those brothers from the South. And I'll tell you what, man, if they can find a way to protect the passer, those two guys will definitely hurt this defense right there.
Diving catch by the man who is the fastest and with the best hands on this offense for Bowling Green. They say Hilaire is a SportsCenter top 10 just waiting to happen every game.
OJ, man, he has those hands and those crisp routes. I like his body control too, and you really can't tell what route he's running when he releases off the line. He's a smooth route runner.
Yeah, he too is a great story. His family immigrated from Haiti as migrant workers. He goes in motion, and now triple receivers to the left. Falcons trying to get something going here in the second quarter. Flag behind the play, and Bazelak just gets rid of the football.
Is incomplete, goes out of bounds. Flag on the play.
Got to expect some pressure there on third down. You see we want to have a holding penalty coming up here.
By the way, I don't know if you saw who tried to catch that pass out of bounds, but I think it was Curtis Rourke, and he didn't do very well. We see
offense, number 51. That penalty is declined. Fourth down.
We see why he's a quarterback and not a receiver. I don't know if our cameras caught it, but it just doinked off of Curtis Rourke.
Bounce off his chest, and one of the coaches gave him 2 thumbs down.
Stay on the throwing end, young man.
Once again, that Bobcats defense showing up on third down. You saw on the graphic they were about 25% success rate as far as offense stopping people. So they forced another punt, and Bowling Green seemed to have some momentum going.
They're going to punt away from Wiggless and Walton. It goes out of bounds, and let's see where the officials mark it. All the way out beyond the 30-yard line. We'll take a break from Bowling Green, Ohio. The Bobcats up by 3 scores. Back at Bowling Green, where Scott Leffler has rebuilt this Falcons football program to respectability in the Mid-American Conference in spite of that score right there early in the second quarter. He's really done a good job taking a program that was kind of in the wilderness, and after his long apprenticeships, first at Michigan at his alma mater, he spent a decade on staff there. Then he worked under Urban Meyer, Frank Beamer, Gene Chizik, and of course Lloyd Carr back in Ann Arbor, who he still visits every month. But the work ahead is still there. They're having to deal with injuries today, Marcus, but where is he with this program at this moment?
Well, I say right now he's not where he wants to be, but he knows he's getting close. I mean, he had to replace or get rid of 56 players in his first 3 years. Yeah. We're talking about roster overhaul, on an 85 scholarship roster. So last year, I think they proved that they can get there, as this was the MAC East championship game we're watching now from a year ago. So they're right there knocking on the door.
Running the option, Rourke, late pitch, able to find Allison. Going to pick up about 5 yards on first down. And this Ohio University offense, multiple with Curtis Rourke.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the best play you can run with Rourke, but I tell you what, it keeps the defense honest because he's been dropping back, and now when you see Rourke running a speed option, that's something else you have to defend on film, and then it keeps the defense guessing. I don't think we'll see it a lot, but I think they'll run it occasionally just to mix it up and give the defense something else to chew on.
Well, he missed the last 3 games with a torn ACL a year ago. In spite of that, he still was the MAC Offensive Player of the Year. On second down, has an open man who makes the defender miss and able to get to the first down marker and beyond. Again, it's Jacoby Jones.
Nice job by Jones there. And that was a good spacing concept where the outside receiver runs a spot route at 5 yards just between the numbers and the hash. So now you're seeing short, quick passes, speed option, and that's just good play calling.
He's now 8 for 8 passing the football today for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. His drive set up by a poor 19-yard punt by Bowling Green. Rourke gives. Allison driven back at midfield after a short gain. Well, the Ohio defense has set up everything so far. They've forced a couple of turnovers, responsible directly for one of the touchdowns, indirectly for another one of the touchdowns. And it's an Ohio defense, Marcus. This is their 5th game of the season. In first quarters combined, they've allowed a total of 3 points.
And when you take a defense like that and complement them with Rourke's numbers, 8 for 8, that's called precision passing. And they're not playing a perfect game. They've had a couple of penalties so far, but they're not far from it.
But again, Ohio doesn't beat Ohio. One of Tim Albin's key phrases that he repeats over and over again. They are not beating themselves so far here today, certainly. BG's defense comes up big. Darren Anders once again in the middle of it all. Landers is from North Olmsted, Ohio, and again, he's the 10th leading active tackler in the country. And according to his defensive coordinator, nobody treats his body better. Diet, rest, strength training, etc. What a key piece for an under-recruited guy 5 years ago.
Yeah, what you put in your body is definitely what you're going to get out, especially for an athlete. You see the third down. Both teams really struggling on third down so far.
The line to gain is the 43-yard line of BG. Rourke puts some air underneath it into single coverage, drops it in, but incomplete.
And not to mention, when Rourke started off 8 for 8, those wasn't just dink and dunks. He was going down the field just like he did here. So he almost was 9 for 9. Let's take a look. Oh, did he get that right foot in? I think he got the toe tap game in. They're going to have to take a look at that. Now he'll be 9 for 9. So like I said, they're not dinking and dunking the ball down the field. They're actually taking shots, and he's 9 for 9.
No question. And Jones with a great job trying to keep that foot in, and we're just kind of holding, waiting for an official review.
Is an incomplete pass. The previous play is under review.
Perfection for Curtis Rourke is on the line with this call.
How has instant replay, as we used to call it growing up, changed college football? 30 years ago, it's out of bounds. You're arguing with officials. Nowadays, in 2023, after several years of it, they get a chance to get the call right. That's what I love about college football, because so many times we've seen this stuff go either way with just a human eye, human error. That looks like an incomplete pass. Official standing right there.
Well, while they come up with a verdict, we'll take a break and have it for you when we come back.
After review, it's been determined that the ball was a catch by the offense. It'll be 1st and 10, Ohio at the 25-yard line.
So there you go, a highlight reel 25-yard catch by Jacoby Jones, but you liked the audacity of the quarterback just to put it there.
I mean, the nerve of Rourke to throw that ball in tight coverage and defeat it. That's why he's 9 for 9, and he's showing you why he's the best in the game in this conference so far.
And Jones is putting together a big afternoon receiving the football as well. 1st and 10, Ohio from the 25-yard line. Rourke all day to survey the field and find an open man into double coverage. A big hit leveled on Jones. And he's down holding his right leg.
It's a lot going on this play right here. We're going to have to take a look at.
personal foul with targeting. Defense number 7. This previous play is under further review.
Well, we're not going to show that to you again, as the right lower leg certainly took the brunt of it. And as you heard, the officials are going to look for targeting as well. But we'll step away while the medical staff of Ohio treats Jacoby Jones. Call on boundary safety Patrick Day has been upheld upon review, and so he is out of the football game for Bowling Green. And then we watched as Jacoby Jones, who was injured on the play, helped off the field, unable to put any weight onto that right foot. And so each team loses somebody here between Bowling Green and Ohio. After the targeting penalty, Ohio with the football, first down. Allison stood up. Shaman Duncan Nisulu among the Falcons, and now slow to get up is Allison. And here's another look at the pain that Jones was in. And again, from the time he got up off the turf to the time he made it some 50 yards away to get into the medical tent, he did not one time put his right foot on the ground.
Yeah. Someone else is down. You see Allison getting up slow with his helmet off.
He missed all of last year with a shoulder injury. This is a contact sport, to be sure, and injuries are going to happen. Now he's got something to say while he's coming off, so we haven't seen what the hit was.
Yeah, it looks like he's been in a street fight. His mouth's bleeding and all kind of stuff going on.
O'Shawn's from Malvern, PA, out of Malvern Prep. He was their leading rusher back in 2019. Here's a look at what happened to Allison.
See all those Falcons roughhousing and trying to gang tackle him. His forward progress was stopped. He was falling forward. Hopefully, young man is okay.
So C.A. Bangura, the starting running back, back in there behind Rourke. Off the play fake, set up the screen to the tight end. Tackled at the 10-yard line was Tyler Foster, a redshirt senior from Pickerington, Ohio. Well, Foster's biggest play as a Bobcat came in last year's Arizona Bowl. In overtime, he caught the game-winning touchdown pass from C.J. Harris. And by the way, C.J. announced earlier this week that, quote, due to a recent medical emergency, I've been advised to not play any more games this season, and he's instead going to focus on recovering. So C.J. Harris will stay with the team, just not available for the team for the remainder of this season as the number 2 or number 3 quarterback. Parker Navarro serves now as the full backup behind Curtis Rourke. Third down and 6. Rourke gets rid of the football into the end zone. There's contact. Incomplete. Trying to find Miles Cross, who had a lot of brown jerseys near him.
It's a big red zone route where you throw the corner route. No contact, they didn't call it. It's Jalen Husky making the play there. 6'1", 185 pound. He's having a great year. 16 tackles, 2 interceptions. So he's a guy that's not going to just let you throw the ball over his head. That's a great play. High point in the football, getting a pass breakup.
His 2 picks tie him for 8th in the country so far this season. Field goal attempt by Spedick is good. 27-yard field goal off the foot of the true freshman out of Notre Dame Cathedral Latin High School in Chardon, Ohio. And he has been quite a boost to the Ohio University football attack, which now has a 24-0 lead midway through the second quarter. Well, Tim Albin is in his 3rd year as head coach, but as mentioned before, nearly 2 decades at Ohio University. And this is a program under Frank Solich which was reborn and built. He was a big part of it as one of the top lieutenants, and now he has tried to continue that. You see the preseason East Division poll in the Mid-American Conference says the Bobcats are the team to beat. Miami looks like it will contend for it. Buffalo's off to a rough start to the year. Bowling Green picked 4th in the preseason, but have you seen anything from Ohio to dissuade you from thinking that they are the team to beat in this division?
No, I haven't. But what I've seen from Miami of Ohio is I've seen a win over Cincinnati. I've seen an explosive offense. Gabbard is back. So when you talk about Rourke and Gabbard, when they play, quarterback play is going to be at an all-time high. So I really like that Miami offense versus Ohio's defense, and that's going to be, if things play out as the graphic has showed what people think so far, it's going to be a great matchup to watch.
Well, mark your calendar, October 28th. Ohio will host Miami at Frank Solich Field. Game time and network still to be determined, but that might be for the East Division Championship. Alex Casey now kicking into the wind, and it's going to trickle out of bounds for a penalty at about the 5-yard line. A little different kicking right to left than left to right.
Definitely. That ball will sail on you, but when the wind is blowing and that ball just flips in the air, it just doesn't gain any ground. Then it goes where it wants to.
Oh, did he have 3 kicks in the first quarter, maybe 4, and every single one of them sailed through the end zone. Here he could barely get it to the 10-yard line going in the other direction.
I think that was a good stop there by Bowling Green, though, not to give up another touchdown, just to hold this high-powered offense to a field goal.
So now the BG offense. Fumble. And a pickup. Racing to the end zone. It's another defensive touchdown for Ohio. Roman Parodi puts 6 more on the board. Bryce Houston, the 3-time captain, will linebacker, forced the fumble, and then Parodi picked it up and knew what to do with the football.
Watch Houston shoot right through there. Just a missed assignment. 15 tackles a week ago. Knocks the football out. And Johnny on the spot. Parodi picks it up with another scoop and score for the.
Not only is a touchdown.
Not only is this
over, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 4. This foul will be enforced on the kickoff. This is number 4's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
I think, Doug, I might have got an unsportsmanlike too, man, if you get a scoop and score and you're playing like this in a conference game. I mean, you don't want to get another one or you're out of here. But I tell you right now, and I haven't seen a defense, especially in this conference, play this lights out this early in the year in a long time.
They're fast, they are quick, they're reactive, they hit hard. We have seen 2 defensive scores already this afternoon by Ohio, and they continue to force their opponent into turnovers.
Homecoming here at Bowling Green, Ohio. It's not been so pleasant so far.
No, no. 31-0. If this was a fight, they might stop it on a TKO, and it's been the defense of Ohio throwing the haymakers, forcing 3 turnovers that have produced 21 points, 2 directly scored by the defense, and the other, Marcus, set up a short field, and the Ohio offense punched it in. But my goodness, we haven't even really talked about the Ohio offense, which has been pretty capable this year. What a performance so far on both sides of the football for the Bobcats.
Ohio's offense had been down as far as numbers going into this game. But so far, though, they don't need to score on offense if their defense can produce 14 on their own.
So now, other than hold on to the football, what does BG need to do here? We've got an injured Bobcat off of that kickoff, but if you're
Timeout for an injured player.
Scott Leffler staring at a scoreboard on homecoming where you're down 31-0 midway through the second quarter, what on earth do you do?
Well, number one, you try to stay healthy and you try to create some positive plays, at least for film. Now you're playing for your pride. You're at home. You want to try to muster up something to get some points. We know he's not playing with a full deck, a full slate of his starters. But Scott told us he's not going to make any excuses. But you need positive plays if you're Bowling Green, just to give you some confidence. Even if you don't think you can come back and win, you still want to finish on a high note. And I think what you do is play this game like it's 0-0. You think, what's the situation with 8.5 left to go? Play that situation. Run the ball. This offensive line definitely needs to find a way to find some cohesiveness, some communication. They need to establish the reestablish the line of scrimmage, run the football, take a shot, and try to find those holes in this defense that the Bowling Green staff told us about. They felt like they could hit some shots if they could block them.
There we get a look at the injured Bobcat now on his feet and walking off. John Motton.
Young man out of Groveport, Ohio. There's a lot of Central Ohio kids. You know, I still live in Columbus.
I know.
So when you talk about Motton and talk about Tyler Foster, the tight end in Pickerington, Kobe Gorman, some other guys. There's a lot of Central Ohio guys on this team. Nick Mosley's another Pickerington kid. Backup running back there for the Falcons. I'd like to see him get in and get some carries. But if I'm this offensive line, you have to hold up versus this 3.5, 4-man front. Get the ball out quick, and you can't drop it.
Well, Bazelak gets rid of it quickly. Positive yardage. Abdul Fattah Ibrahim. And there's the quick strike you're looking for. Gain of about 5 yards on first down. Well, the big guys up front are led by Alex Wolschlegel, the right tackle, a junior out of Oswego East, second-year starter. Alex Padgett, the center. Nate Pabst, the right guard. Cameron Stewart, the left tackle. Tunde Fatukase is the left guard. What do those guys need to do here?
Well, they need to watch the Michigan film from the first half when they moved the ball. I mean, it's the same starting 5 from a week ago, and they actually ran the ball well in the first 2 games, and they need to get back to it. Recreating the line of scrimmage, getting double teamed at the point of attack, getting second level to those linebackers, and then you have to protect the quarterback.
Teron Keith, their triple threat player, number 0 in brown with the reception. He's now in double figures on the year in passes caught. He also has rushed for 136 yards out of the backfield. The junior from DeLand, Florida, picks up the first down for BG. Linebacker showing pressure. Coming, picked up nicely. Bazelak throws a dart, but it's incomplete. Osborne couldn't pull it in, and there you see one of the defenders again slow to get up for Ohio.
Timeout for an injured player on the defense.
Roman Parodi, the man who just scored a touchdown, is the injured player for Ohio.
That's a missed opportunity for Austin Osborne. Wasn't the greatest pass from Bazelak. I think he should have led his receiver Osborne a little bit more. He had to go down, and his knee actually gets in the way as he tries to tuck the football. But that's a missed opportunity. I like the idea of taking a shot down the field. And if you're Ohio University, you don't want to see too many more guys dropping left and right. You know, you're in a winnable game right now with all the momentum. And the one thing it's going to, these injuries carry over. These teams take chunks out of each other in these conference games.
And that's your playmaking backup boundary corner. Now limping off the field. He backs up Torrey Cox Jr. on that side of the field.
He had the scoop and score, fumble recovery, touchdown. And
one of them.
One of them, yeah. And you know what? We talked to Scott Loeffler, you know, also about scheduling and just trying to figure out, you know, how do you played Michigan last week, and then you get a rematch of the MAC East championship game.
The physicality that builds week after week.
Then you go to Georgia Tech next week.
Yep. After the incomplete pass, second down and 10. Bazelak, incomplete, off the hands of Ibrahim. Third down and 10.
Makes you want to think, you know, makes you consider if it's getting more mental now. Ibrahim, sure-handed receiver. We just loved him up. He has to make that play. This time, Bazelak did throw the ball to the reception point where it was supposed to be. And Ibrahim just couldn't pull it in. But that play has actually been there 2 times in a row.
The Falcons are 1 of 5 on third down, and now their job on third down is going to get a little bit tougher. Push them back after the penalty.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
That's Cameron Stewart. And I got to say, during his weekly meeting with the press this week, Cameron Stewart used the word pondering. That caught my attention. I love the fact that he was pondering something. I think about stuff, I reflect, I never ponder. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I don't even really know what the definition of pondering is, besides think about or consider yes or no.
Very thoughtful young man from Irmo, South Carolina, but his false start makes it 3rd down and 15. And down goes Bazelak. They pin their ears back, and the Bobcats get home. Rayon Buell, the redshirt senior from Hornell, New York, with the sack.
I see what's going on now, Doug, is this offensive line's getting confused. Watch the delayed blitz. See, they start off with 3. They get the lineman to block the 3, and then they send their inside linebackers, Houston, Thompson, but they stunt, and it's delayed. So I don't think the offensive line even knows what protection to call when the ball is snapped, because the blitz comes after.
Buell now with 2.5 sacks on the year, forcing the punt with the win. A returnable punt for the Bobcats, and a short return. Terrific coverage to make sure that Sam Wiglis did not get loose. And for as many points as there are up on the board for Ohio, the Bobcats defense has done the bulk of the heavy lifting. Sam Wiglis was first-team All-MAC last year. He puts up huge numbers, the 4-year Buckeye grad transfer, and we've barely called his name this afternoon.
Yeah, we haven't really had to, in the way the ball has been distributed all over the field by Rourke. He's like a point guard. He's just driving and dishing. Then he's taking a shot. He can pull up and hit the long ball by himself. So, you know, this offensive line, I think, for OU should deserve a ton of credit for how they're holding up, protecting their quarterback.
Well, the Rourke family, Curtis, the current all-conference quarterback at Ohio, his other brother, Nathan, part of the Frank Solich Canadian recruiting pipeline. And if you remember, when Frank Solich was working for Tom Osborne in Nebraska, one of his areas for recruitment decades ago was Canada. And so that's a pipeline that he cultivated when he was with the Cornhuskers, and now Curtis Rourke might wind up being the last of the great Canadian players who have come to the United States because of Frank Solich.
Yeah, Frank just really reestablished the culture and got this program going in a completely different direction. And he was a burst of energy in this conference, coaching-wise. And I think they just ran that triple option in honor of Frank. You know, Coach Alvin threw a little triple in there for Frank.
I passed through the hands of Wiglis.
Wiglis normally sure-handed. You know, the thing about some of these transfer portal guys and grad transfers is when you play a place like Ohio State, you're going against the best of the best. You're actually playing behind or playing with some good receivers, but the guys that you're going against in practice every day going on to the NFL. So then when you play against anybody else, you feel like you're the best of the best.
And 4 years in Columbus, he got into only 8 games for the Buckeyes, mostly on special teams. But boy, what a marvelous find he has been as a receiver in now his 2nd year at Ohio. Wiglis in the slot to the top of your screen as they run the football with Allison.
Allison, the ball carrier, brought down by number 15.
And so the punt team for Ohio comes back out. Jalen Embry, the 5th-year Falcon, 4th-year return man for this program, stands at about his 20-yard line on a sun-splashed afternoon in northwest Ohio.
Jalen Embry back for the Falcons.
Bowling Green will have a chance to work.
Wheatley fumbled the snap, and he is dropped at the 19-yard line. Big play for BG. Payshawn Wimberly, who is their all-everything playmaker on special teams, was in there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, you don't take plays off, especially a play like this. You never know. That's why a lot of teams send at least one guy at the punter, just in case it's a botched snap or something happens. One of the few mistakes Ohio made this afternoon, and we'll see if Bowling Green can cash in the best field position they've had. I think they can take a shot here, at least one, and then work their offense here. But they have to build off of that play.
Wimberly has been a special teams marvel, blocked 3 punts last year, tied for the most in the country. He comes up with the big tackle off of the botched snap and sets up BG in marvelous territory.
Split zone action in the run game. Zarek, the big fella, tight end going in motion. He's lumbering across, and then he reset, kicked back out. That's a good 5-yard run there.
Stewart was the ball carrier. He stays in the football game alongside Connor Bazelak. 4 minutes, 10 seconds to go. Movement up front. Alex Wolschlager said he was drawn. He's pointing at the defensive player from Ohio, saying he is why I move.
It's always the other guy, Doug. If you move, I'm going to point at you.
Offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Wolschlager, despite where he was pointing, well, they say when you point at somebody else, 4 other fingers are pointing back at you. This time that was appropriate.
Definitely.
Alex still not happy about things. You can see how tall he is. 6'7", 295 pounds, from Aurora, Illinois. And so it moves him back to bring up second down and 11. Crowd here at the Doit getting a little restless. Play clock down to 5. High snap, and a flag comes as well. I think the snap was in time.
It's going to be another false start.
False start. Offense, number 57. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
It's got to be hard for the center to have a false snap or a false start, doesn't it?
Yeah, it means you move the ball. If no one else moves, but you just can't move the football, and you have to stay stationary. 2 self-inflicting wounds there. 10 yards of penalties on false starts.
Yeah. So instead of second down and 6, they're back to second and 16. After coming up with the turnover on special teams. O.J. Hilaire in motion to the top of your screen. Bazelak avoids the rush and then gets leveled. Ball came out with a penalty marker down. And more extracurriculars after the play. Vonnie Watkins, the defensive end, number 17, another one of these 6th-year Bobcats involved in the play.
As they say, it's getting chippy. A lot of activity for those officials to sort through. Both coaches not happy. You have to maintain your poise. It doesn't matter if you're winning, but we'll take a look to the right of your screen. That hold right there on 17, Vonnie Watkins, he got all the penetration. Looks like Padgett, center, who had the false start play before, and you'll see right here in the center, you see that right arm tug the chest. It almost ripped the 1 off that jersey. That's where the play call is, but if you're Padgett, you have to keep your poise and play better football, especially at center.
And then after the whistle, the action continued.
Oh, that was 64, the big fella, Bronson Warner. He made, if they look at that, that's definitely going to be some type of unsportsmanlike conduct. He took a shot at a Bobcat that was actually on the ground, and then that's where the melee started.
It looked to me like he was trying to take a shot at a Bobcat who was trying to get the football from Cameron Stewart, who was laying on his back with the ball.
Yeah. Long
after the whistle had blown.
And then Bazelak, just talking football, he held that football too long. You know, when you're scooting to your left, especially versus this type of defense, I thought he could have checked the ball down and got rid of it or just threw it out of bounds, but he held onto that football extremely too long.
I'll tell you what, this Ohio University defense has been so good so far this year. Spence Nowitzki, their defensive coordinator, said, we don't have 5 stars, we don't have 4 stars. All 11 guys together is our 5-star. And we have certainly seen that on display this afternoon, Marcus.
This is not a smart football play.
After review, the ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the original offense. Holding, offense, number 57. That penalty is declined. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, Ohio number 8. Unsportsmanlike conduct, Bowling Green, number 53. Unsportsmanlike conduct, 64 on Bowling Green, and another unsportsmanlike conduct on number 64. Number 64 has been ejected from the game. Those fouls will offset 4th down.
And that's Bronson Warner, 6'3" senior from Chaska, Minnesota, who has been ejected.
When you get 2 unsportsmanlikes on one play, so here comes the first one, the dive right there. It's just not a good situation. And that's a poor choice just for college football in general. So now you'll see things start to get a little riled up, and we'll keep an eye on Warner and see where he got his second unsportsmanlike to get ejected from the football game. That's Kevin Tolbert, the strength and conditioning coach right there for Bowling Green that Warner's talking to.
It has been that kind of day here on homecoming at Bowling Green State University.
Got to maintain your cool in these type of situations, regardless of what the scoreboard is. You just want to try to play.
30-second charge timeout. Ohio, they're first.
Bobcats call timeout, and yeah, Bowling Green forced the turnover on special teams. They're in the red zone, and now on the last 3 snaps of the football, they have had 3 penalties plus the personal fouls and an ejection.
They just fell apart and shot themselves in the foot.
Well, here's a look at next week's schedule. These Bobcats will be idle, so they have a chance to rest and recoup. And then I like the game down in the bottom middle. Toledo home against Northern Illinois, 3:30 kickoff. And these Falcons will try to lick their wounds and head to Atlanta and deal with Georgia Tech of the ACC, another game scheduled for a 3:30 kickoff. But we are in the meat of the schedule. More and more conference games on the slate. The non-conference slate going to be done very soon. And all we'll be talking about is MACtion. We'll be getting our midweek games. And before you know it, it's going to be late October, and things are going to be shaping up in the Mid-American Conference.
Oh, yeah, and it's unpredictable week to week. It's all about matchup. You know, styles make fights. I'll tell you what, I don't know if Ohio University's style is definitely going to let some people know there's going to be a fight.
Nice adjustment to the ball by O.J. Hilaire, who pulls it in. And this makes you wonder here. I mean, Ohio lost its opening game of the season at San Diego State. Tough place to win by only a touchdown. And in that game, they lost their all-conference quarterback, Curtis Rourke. This is a team to be contended with, not just in the MAC.
No, good defense is good defense. When you're fundamentally sound, aggressive pursuit, don't give up big plays and get to the quarterback, create turnovers, that's called supreme defense.
High snap, throws off the timing. A left-handed flip is caught, but it's going to be for negative yardage. What pursuit by the defense.
Did you see the speed, though?
Man.
Like one after the other. Like, I mean, these guys are flying around. Like, they don't want you to get a yard.
Well, they didn't. Walter Reynolds, Tank Pearson just pursuing the football.
Started with that bad snap, and before you know it, there was a Bobcat in the face. 1, 2. Even if they miss, even if you miss, the other guy's right there waiting. You see the young fella getting up, Tank Pearson, playing with all that emotion and passion. You know, I played on defense. That was pretty good, too.
You did. You were a Sports Illustrated cover guy.
Yeah, I was. And I'll tell you, I played on the defense where it was like piranhas. And that's what this looks like.
Feeding off of each other, I got to imagine. Allison. Ball's out, heading toward the sideline. And it looks like it's going to be second down, so recovered by Ohio.
Well, the one thing you know about a Scott Leffler coach team, they're going to fight. They fought Michigan, I mean, to the end. I mean, the game it just gradually started pulling away. But throughout those 4 quarters, they punched Michigan back and went toe-to-toe. And they're not going to back down from Ohio regardless of what that scoreboard says.
And this defense has been good this year. They came in 7th in the nation in third down defense, limiting their opponents to a 26% success rate on third down. This is second down and short. And that'll be a first down for the Bobcats.
Gain of 4 on the play, brought down by number 9, Darius Warfield.
It's a good stop there. The Falcons. Lorfield's coming up from that free safety spot. 6'2", 190. See, these guys are getting longer, more athletic, more length at the skilled, defensive skill positions, defensive backfield to match up with these receivers.
The Bobcats in no hurry, up 31-0 on the boot. Rourke to midfield. He was 10 yards upfield before anybody touched him.
Yeah, they have been setting that play up all day with the quarterback keep. They run an inside run here, get a little play action. Lose contain on the outside there. Charles Rosser, big fella, squoze down too hard, didn't keep his eye on the quarterback. They were setting that up.
Lorfield's made the tackle, but not until Rourke got across midfield. First and 10 from the 49-yard line of BG. Keep it on the ground. Kind of go outside was Allison. Play was strung out nicely by BG defensively.
Run out of bounds by number 0, Cassius Howell.
Clock stops with 15 seconds remaining in the half on the tackle made by Cassius Howell. And now the Bobcats are just going to take a knee and let the final 14 seconds and change run off. But an impressive performance on both sides of the football here in the first half by Ohio.
Just a complete first half, offense, defense. One mistake on special teams, obviously, but scoring off turnovers, 21 points. You see Ohio to receive the second half kickoff. I just wonder what that halftime speech for Scott Leffler is going to sound like.
For the first time in 18 years, Ohio defensively has scored 2 touchdowns in a game. Back in 05, they returned a couple of interceptions against Pittsburgh. In the first half here today, they've scored twice defensively. We're at halftime, 31-0 Bobcats. You're watching the MAC on ESPN Plus from Deutsch Perry Stadium. All Ohio on Bowling Green's homecoming, and this is how it happened. Doug Sherman along with Marcus Ray.
And they did it in a lot of different ways. This defense got this party started with an interception right there. Big fella Thompson. That set up a nice bootleg throwback from Rourke to Bangora. He finishes the deal. Took a look at that one, and his defense has been flying around. Offense too. Tip pass, you know, a lot of fortunate things went their way. The interception was a tip. That was a tip to Kazmarek. And then watch the defense. Another one. That same man. Mama, there goes that man Thompson with a scoop and score. Pursuit, gang tackling. Roman Parodi. A little hot sauce on that.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a good celebration there. Got him a penalty, by the way, too. But I tell you what. I mean, we could have had endless highlights. I mean, that was just a sample size of the dominance Ohio has shown on both sides of the ball in the first half.
And we could spend the rest of the third quarter talking about all the statistical breakdowns on both sides of the football to illustrate just how dominant Ohio has been as we are underway in the third quarter here at the Doyle. And as the Bobcats offense comes back out of the field, let's talk about just how good that defense was in the first half.
Stingy. Look at the season numbers coming in. Look at the numbers today. 11 per, almost 12, 0. The rush at the total yards, 245, 73 total yards overall. Rush yards, 21. 3 first forced turnovers. That's almost half of what they came into this game with. 10 total on the season. And you see the percentage on third down. That is called stingy, suffocating, whatever adjective you can come up with, Doug. That's great defense.
Yeah, Key Thompson on the sideline for the start of this third quarter. The biggest of the big playmakers on defense for Ohio with an interception and a fumble return and a touchdown of his own. 2-yard pickup on first down for the Bobcats offense, which has been equally efficient. How about the numbers for Curtis Rourke? Now 11 of 13 passing for 163 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Oh, by the way, he's just doing what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, it's just another day at the office for the big fella. Check the ball down there to Bangura, and he's not going to force it down the field. And he's just taking what the defense is giving him, and then he's taking what he wants with throws that defeat tight coverage.
On the play clock as Curtis Rourke, the grad student from Ontario, Canada, hands it off to Bangura, who is banged back by one of the captains for BG. That's the nose guard, Anthony Hawkins, senior from Mansfield, Ohio, with the stop.
That front's been playing pretty well. It's not like the Bobcats have ran the ball down the Falcons' throat. It's just a matter of big passes, turnovers, you know, getting points. But this front seven, though, for the Falcons, I think have played well so far against the run.
Yeah, Ohio only ran the football for 44 yards in that first half. You're right. Probably passing here on third down and 6 yards to go. The line to gain is the 31. Here goes Rourke. Going to try to run for it. He's tripped up at the sideline. Ferguson on the tackle, and let's see, Rourke appears to be okay.
That was risque. He took a shot. He took a shot, and I don't think he's all the way he was before he took that shot. You'll see, and that's the danger of just coming back off an injury and running around. But right here, that's borderline a penalty. And I'm going to tell you why, because he was clearly giving himself up out of bounds. It's a good tackle in space, but Rourke's either got to slide or he's got to get out of bounds before the defender gets there, because that right there, I mean, we're going to have to take a look and see it, make sure he's okay, make sure he comes back in this ballgame.
They marked him out of bounds at the 30, so on 4th down and 1, Ohio punts it away. Bowling Green with a big return. That's the dangerous Jalen Embry into Ohio territory. Flag down and another Bobcat down. Seems like we have said that time and time again this afternoon.
During the return, block in the back. Return team number 1. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Bowling Green.
Jordan Oladokin with the penalty for BG.
You'll see right there, the hands extended. And it was just enough. I'm not sure if he would still make the tackle, but you still can't extend your arms. What you want to do is put your hands up and body block them, if anything, or just run by the defender.
John Motton was the Bobcat who was slow to get up. You saw him miss on the tackle there and hit the turf hard. On first down, room after the catch for BG. Big play for Austin Osborne, the former Washington Husky. It's a first down for the Falcons.
It's a good positive play. You see Baszler stay in the pocket there under duress and deliver a nice tight spiral. That's a good catch there by Osborne.
Well, that's a couple of former 4-star recruits. There's some talent out there on the field now for BG. Ibrahim trades places with his former Alabama A&M teammate, best friend, roommate. Hilaire from the left side. Plenty of time for a moment, and then just throwing the football away. They're saying it's an incomplete pass, but he clearly was in the grasp. Dangerous play by Bazelak.
Yeah, and they're going to talk about grounding potential
There's no
here,
foul
too.
for intentional grounding. 0 was in the area.
Well, so much. That says how much I know.
Quick conversation.
It was real quick. Look at the pressure here by the Bobcats. You see the long twists. Guys coming from left and right, occupying them. And I've just been feeling all day that Bazelak's been holding that ball a little too long. I thought he had enough time to either get rid of it or possibly try to get out of there, but you just can't stand there as that pocket collapses.
And Vonnie Watkins with another sack. He had 4.5 a year ago and led the team with 14 tackles for loss. Screen pass complete. Ibrahim pushed back at the 40-yard line. What looked like a play that could be set up for positive yardage, just denied with the swarming Ohio defense.
Yeah, starting with 26, Walter Reynolds, too. You'll see him flash into your screen from the right side. Right there, just making just the first contact. Even if it disrupts the receiver's tunnel screen route, it just disrupts the timing of everything.
Kwame Sutton, you see there, number 14, backup defensive end for Ohio. He's a former Austin Peay governor. He played 5 seasons for Austin Peay. 3rd down for Bowling Green. Bazelak intercepted again. Walter Reynolds, the former Holy Cross Crusader, with yet another takeaway for this unbelievable defense.
And he just sat in the middle of the field, stole second base, as they say in baseball, and he picked off Bazelak with another turnover for this Bobcats defense. They've been dominant all afternoon.
And we would like to continue our celebration as a yard for teacher.
Walter Reynolds is a 6'1" grad transfer from Holy Cross. He's a native of Detroit out of Jesuit High School, and he has come up with the 3rd interception of the afternoon for this wonderful Ohio defense.
Yeah, he says he's the world heavyweight champ, and I'll show you why. In the center of your screen, this is called robber coverage. When a defensive back doesn't have a responsibility, in particular a safety, and he lurks over the middle of the field about 10 yards away. Bazelak never saw Reynolds, and then he tried to get some extra yardage and take it to the house. I mean, this defense is having fun. And I'll give you a slogan: playmaking is contagious. That's something that college football players say all over the country.
Rourke is hit. Ball is on the turf. Looks like it's recovered by Ohio, at least for the moment. But then BG came away with it. If the ball was indeed fumbled, it is, and it's Falcons football.
Recovered by the defense.
That's a great football play for Bowling Green, and I told you they were going to keep fighting. And you'll see right to the right of your screen, that's an excellent pass rush move there. A little up and under, working it. Cassius Howell, young man out of Kansas City, Missouri. Nice speed rush, using a whip technique. If you're OU offensively, I think you start to worry about how many more shots do you want Rourke to take, especially dropping back and then running around too, scrambling. A lot of football left, but just if you're Ohio, just take in consideration the situation in the game and what's at stake.
Well, as I scan the near sideline where the Bobcats are, number 13 Parker Navarro, who is the backup quarterback these days for Ohio, continues to stand, and he is with Rourke and with the other quarterbacks, still not warming up. And as we mentioned in the first half, C.J. Harris
is a fumble. Ohio is challenging the referee on the field.
You hear the challenge. I mean, we just again want to give a shout out to C.J. Harris, who has had marvelous moments during his playing days as quarterback for the Bobcats. But earlier this week, he set out a statement saying, due to a recent medical emergency, I've been advised to not play any more games this season and instead focus on recovering. And so that's number 10, C.J. Harris, who quarterbacked that game last year for the MAC East Championship when they beat Bowling Green, and then he was the starter in the Arizona Bowl and was that bowl game's MVP. So he is out. Rourke taking another hit. What do you think? Forward pass or fumble?
That's a fumble in my eyes. I'm not an official, but I tell you, I'm looking at it. I don't see the arm going forward. It was on the way up. I mean, going back right there. Ball's out. It's definitely not a forward pass. Nice job by Bowling Green. They needed a little bit of that earlier in this football game, I think. But when you look, the arm, the ball gets slapped out right as it reaches its peak, going backwards. Looks like. And that's what they teach pass rushers. Get the sack fumble, and you knock it out. And if you just knock the ball out of the quarterback's hand, that's called a sack fumble.
Yeah, so now 2.5 sacks on the year for Howell, and the recovery by Evan Branch Haynes, one of the backup nose guards.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Ohio will be charged their first time out of the half. They have also lost their challenge for the remainder of the game.
As head coach Tim Albin, in his 3rd season as head coach, he went to Northwestern Oklahoma State, graduated back in 1989. He was a 4-year assistant at Nebraska under Frank Solich, and then 16 more under Frank in Athens, Ohio. His team up 31-0. Terrion Stewart is marked down at the 43-yard line. Now, we got a lot of football left to play. 10 minutes and change here in the 3rd quarter, but I'm going to throw it out there, Marcus. The last Ohio shutout was back in 2018 when they beat San Diego State 27-0 in the Frisco Bowl. And in that game, Nathan Rourke, the older brother of Curtis, had a couple of rushing touchdowns, 1 passing touchdown. Not saying they're going to pitch a shutout today, but they have certainly looked like they could throw a shutout out there anytime this afternoon. Stewart able to shed a couple of would-be tacklers and just keeps dragging defenders. Flag flies at midfield as Stewart is pushed out of bounds at the 43-yard line.
Going back to the shutout situation, I mean, if you're Bowling Green, you definitely don't want to get shut out. And I think that's what they're playing for now. They've had some opportunities, just getting a little closer. But, you know, talking about this run play here, Stewart, man, he's a load. And I think the right side of that offensive line did a fine job initially.
10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
O.J. Hilaire with the block in the back. But yeah, Terrion Stewart is such a marvelous story. They're so happy to have him back after he took a year off from school last year to focus on his mental health and his academics. But Stewart back, you know, in the summer before he was a freshman at Bowling Green right out of Sandusky High School, he saved the lives of 2 young boys from drowning in Lake Erie along the Shelby Street public boat launch. And he said, a lot of people die in the lake. I didn't want to see that happen. He took it upon himself. He was there with his girlfriend just having lunch, and he jumped into action and pulled those 2 kids by himself out of the water to save their lives.
Yeah, that man's a hero. That man is a hero.
Wide open Hilaire. Move the sticks for Bowling Green.
Baseline pass is complete out to number 1, Onu Hilaire.
Those are the throws you want to see Bazelak make. He's got the arm to get it from the right hash all the way outside the numbers. And I just don't think they've had enough time and drop back pass to even run those kind of routes consistently. But that's what you want to see. And when you see a wide receiver cut a split like right here, at the bottom of your screen, you look for those outside breaking routes.
That was a 23-yard pass from Bazelak to Hilaire. Bazelak off the play fake has another open receiver. More positive yardage, finding the tight end. Flag down on the reception by Andrew Bench.
Flag on the play.
And again, Bench, a bigger part of the offense.
Personal foul, chop block, offense, number 28 and 76. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
So that's your running back, Jason Patterson, and your left tackle, Cameron Stewart.
Yeah, that's a high-low. Whenever you're blocking, whenever someone's blocking up top, the second blocker cannot block below the waist. So they call it a chop block, but old school terms like me, you call it a high-low block.
And that can be done by accident, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it can be done with bad intention, but it also can be done by accident.
Yeah, you could be knocked into a guy and fall on his legs and they'll still call it.
It's a push Bowling Green back to its own 41-yard line. just off the left hand of Ibrahim and incomplete.
Incomplete intended for number 2, Abdel Fattah Ibrahim. Coverage on the play by number 12, Tank Pearson.
Good coverage by Tank Pearson. He had an interception earlier this year at Florida Atlantic, junior from Oxford, Mississippi. Here's a good look at number 12, the backup field corner for this excellent Ohio University defense.
It's hard to play football when you're 1st and 25 with an incompletion, end up on 2nd and 25. Look for some type of wide receiver screen or across the middle pass.
Going down the left sideline, overshoots his intended target. Once again, it's Andrew Bench. And Bench is typically more of a blocking tight end, but with the injury to number 44, Harold Fannin, who is not available today, we're seeing more 11 personnel. We're seeing more of the backup tight ends or the blocking tight ends have to fill roles they're not as accustomed to.
A tight end is a tight end at the end of the day. You have to learn how to, obviously run and block. And some guys get used in different packages more than others. But when your numbers start to dwindle, those guys have to become receivers as well.
I'm guessing every, quote, blocking tight end would like to think they're a pass-catching tight end. Just throw me the football, I'll catch it.
That's right.
1 for 8 on 3rd down, long way to go, and another incomplete pass, trying to set up the screen. And so Teron Keith unable to haul in that pass. He still had a long way to go to get to the 34-yard line of Ohio, so it'll bring the punt team out for the Falcons.
See that time Bowling Green went to almost like a max protection look where they had two guys next to Bazelak in the backfield, and they were going to check release just to make sure it wasn't a blitz.
Fair catch. Nicely done by Ohio's Sam Wiglis. And that'll take us to break. The Bobcats get the football back, looking to build on their 31-point lead. Green has not been good so far. Down 31-0, middle of the 3rd quarter with Marcus Ray on Doug Sherman. Marcus, of course, a great defensive back at the University of Michigan back in the day, and one of his many teammates is that man right there, Scott Leffler, the head coach of Bowling Green. And you have said repeatedly on this broadcast, from knowing this man for 30 years, he's not going to quit. His teammates or his players are not going to quit. What do you remember most about him in your time together in Ann Arbor?
Scott was intelligent. He was a fierce competitor with a strong arm. And barring a shoulder injury, he was next up in line after Todd Collins, before Brian Griese, before Tom Brady.
Yep.
So he was one of those guys that was right there. Then he became a student assistant, spent time in our room as with the defensive backs and really helped us out.
Yeah, he joked around in our conversation earlier this week about, I don't want that Brian Griese to take that job. He wanted to have that job. But as you said, he became a student assistant and helped to foster those guys and continue to build the legacy in maize and blue.
Yeah, he spent his 3rd, 4th, and 5th year as a student assistant, so he was able to get his coaching career started. He knew that's what he wanted to do. That quarterback room was ugly. He had Tom Brady in there at one point, Brian Griese, Scott Leffler, and believe it or not, Leffler was the best guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you've said repeatedly this
Don't
week.
tell Brady I said that.
Those two guys are still good friends, and during the time that Leffler was the offensive coordinator at Boston College right before taking the head coaching job here at BG, he apparently lived not far from Tom Brady in Chestnut Hill, and he would jog every day, Leffler would, from his home to Fenway Park and back. He became a big Red Sox fan. When we talked to him the other day, he's wearing a Red Sox cap. And yeah, he and Tom Brady still are tight to this day.
Yeah, Scott's a great man. Comes from good stock too there in Barberton, Ohio, and has a very interesting story. But he's respected as a play caller. Now he's a head man, and he's one of the MAC guys now. I mean, he's getting up there with, you're talking Chris Creighton and Albin and Chuck Martin at Miami. I mean, these guys have been around. I mean, this is a good job to have in college football.
Rourke's pass caught. Will Wiglis have enough ground? They're going to mark him, it looks like, maybe a half-yard short. And you mentioned Leffler as a play caller. I found it interesting talking to him that he said he doesn't like calling plays from the field, so he gave that job up last year and allows for his offensive coordinator who's upstairs to call those plays. But that doesn't mean he's not involved.
Oh, he's heavily involved in the game planning, in the game day decisions, and he's given suggestions in all situations.
And they did wind up obviously getting a first down. Now we've got a penalty on the first down run by O'Shawn Allison. And another injured Bobcat, slow to get up. And that is Mason Williams, a freshman tight end who played football, basketball, and baseball all 4 years on the high school varsity.
Fouls on the play, both against the defense. Illegal substitution, defense, 12 men on the field. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 7. That is his first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game. Both penalties will be enforced. First down.
That's the Kansas transfer. Davon Ferguson, starting nickel for Bowling Green defensively, called for the unsportsmanlike, and it's good to see Mason Williams back on his feet. I'm sure his parents, Chris and Teresa, are relieved in seeing that. Mom and Dad were both Division I athletes at Toledo.
You see all that hand on the helmet, pushing down on his face, lots of weight. I mean, that's just blatant. I mean, that's not a, I'm using, trying to get off the ground. That's just some type of unsportsmanlike conduct, and that's what it's called. And I think if you're Scott Leffler, we talked about it, and like I said, I've been knowing this guy 30 years. That's not what he coaches. That type of unsportsmanlike conduct. So I'm just telling you right now, when they go watch this tape and then they start talking about the what ifs, they're going to start with the penalties before they talk offense, defense.
First down in Bowling Green territory, run up the middle.
Danger to the ball carrier. Stopped by number 9, Darius Marshall.
Nowhere to run for Bangura on first down. Keep your eye on number 12, Sam Wiglis, in the slot to the top of your screen. Second-year Bobcat. He's a captain this year. They throw that direction, but it's to one of the other receivers, Chase Hendricks. But Wiglis, he's really something else. He's a guy who did not have any Division I scholarship offers at the FBS level, who went as a walk-on to Ohio State and had such a remarkable impact during his 4 years there, getting his degree, that he still maintains true relationships with all the former players. They come on weeknight MACtion games and drive from Columbus to Athens to watch the Bobcats play. That includes Marvin Harrison Jr.
That's called respect.
They like this guy.
They like this guy, man. He's found a home here in Athens. And I tell you what, he's going to be probably rooting for his comrades later on when the Buckeyes take on Notre Dame, man. I mean, those guys watch each other play, and if you're driving to visit and support, man, you're definitely going to watch.
No doubt. Well, there's a lot of evidence about how the current Buckeyes feel about their former teammate.
Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's Kurt Daneker. But Wiglis in his 4 years as a Buckeye, and that was his dream. I mean, he grew up in Brecksville, Ohio, rooting for the Buckeyes. He wanted to play for them, and even though they didn't have a scholarship for him all 4 years, he was still a big member. He was a preferred walk-on, only offered a partial scholarship from FCS schools. But Wiggy remains tight, but he wanted to come somewhere where he could actually play wide receiver, because his teammates in the wide receiver room at Ohio State just were better. They were NFL prospects. He's not going to beat them out for reps.
Definitely, but he's come here and shown that he can play the game and catch the football, and he's their top guy so far this year, and he's fun to watch too, man. You can tell he walked in the door pretty polished up. But watch this split zone play right down the middle. They outnumbered them at the point of attack with this formation. If you look at this formation, you'll see 3 receivers to the left, and the one that's covered up is Wiglis. That's telling you he's ineligible, and that's why they're going to run the football.
Bangura with the big pickup. 7 yards. They give him the football back. Young man from Bowie, Maryland, out of DeMatha Catholic High School. So close with his mom, Maze Ray. They talk every day. His mom's a nurse, and she makes it to almost every game. According to CA, between Pop Warner, varsity, and college football, he thinks his mom has missed a total of 5 games, maybe.
Wow.
And that's making her way from the D.C. area up here to Ohio. Not sure if she made it to this game, but that is a really neat relationship between mother and son. Her son picked up 3 yards, bringing up 3rd down and 1 for the Bobcats. Quarterback keep. 1st down and more. Rourke steps out of bounds untouched.
Looks like Rourke's legs are doing just fine after taking a nice little shot on the sideline. And that's a read play. I mean, he's reading the edge of the defense to see if the defensive end crashes down too far, and he'll pull it. If the defensive end goes up the field, then he'll hand the ball off. And that play keeps defenses honest.
He can do a lot of things. He can spin it through for over 500 yards in a game last year against Fordham. We have seen him run the football. Got great size, 6'5", 230 pounds. 1st down just inside the 15-yard line. Final 2 minutes of this 3rd quarter, and again, it makes you wonder, as I think the play clock may have expired.
Delay a game. Offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
What will it take for him to follow his big brother Nathan into the NFL?
You got to stay healthy, lead your team to victory, win as many games as you can, possibly win a MAC championship, because you want more opportunities to get on film. Have a great showing in the bowl game. Then you want to go to the Senior Bowl, and then you want to compete against the best of the best. Then you have to work out well.
And he is considered to be a top draft pick, if not the top draft pick in the next Canadian Football League draft. And so maybe that's the route, just like his brother with the BC Lions last year. Screen set up. Still on his feet. The receiver, Miles Cross, going to walk into the end zone for a Bobcats touchdown. Well, that'll help the stat line for Curtis Rourke. Didn't take a lot of effort, but he gets another touchdown pass.
Big Money Miles Cross making his presence felt in his return. Well-designed tunnel screen. This offensive line, Embergy, Daneker, Titsworth, Kristoff, Rhodes Jr. Those guys got down the field and created a wall. Miles Cross did the rest.
19
The result
yard.
of the play is a touchdown. After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 7. That is his 2nd unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game. He has been ejected. The foul will be enforced on the kickoff.
My goodness, what is going on with Bowling Green? Davon Ferguson now ejected.
That's unfortunate. There's going to be some 6 a.m. wake-ups, I'm telling you, at some stadium stairs or some type of consequence for those type of penalties. And it's one thing to lose, but you don't want to lose like that. You still want to try to play clean.
Number 19 with a 19-yard touchdown to cap off a 10-play, 77-yard drive. Ohio chews up 6.5 minutes and builds that lead to 38-0, spoiling homecoming at Bowling Green. $38-0. Ohio adds to its lead with a 19-yard pass play from Curtis Rourke to Mr. Cross, and so now add his name to Bangura and Kazmarek. 3 touchdown passes from Rourke, who is now 14 for 16 for 196 yards. And again, you got to wonder, at what point does Tim Albin take Rourke out of the ball game and make sure they preserve him to play another day?
Then you also want to get some of your backups some action and some game situation stuff, just because you want to build some depth. It's going to be a long season. It's going to be very competitive. One game does not make your season if you're Bowling Green. In the MAC East, you just can't. But it's unfortunate you lose a head-to-head matchup. But you're going to have to try to keep pace in some other way.
Sincere McNeil, a backup wide receiver, handled that squib kick nicely for Bowling Green. The Falcons offense goes back out. And one more chance to see Bazelak. Meanwhile, we've been keeping an eye on the Ohio sideline, and sure enough, number 7 has gotten rid of his helmet, and number 13, Parker Navarro, is up and loosening, the UCF transfer, who has played this year. 5 for 7, 60 yards, couple of touchdowns, 1 interception. So as he heats up, looks like he'll be our next quarterback on the field for Ohio.
No surprise there if you're Coach Tim Albin. You want to play smart and you want to get some other guys some reps. Bobcats had a few guys go down with injuries, and you want to try to stay healthy when you leave a game like this.
And he's playing catch with Callum Wither, another one of the backup quarterbacks. Penalty marker down.
Baisley, the ball carrier, multiple flags.
Baisley picked up 3 yards. We'll see if it stands.
Had a lot of penalties today. Both teams.
Sure have.
I mean, for the score to say 38.
There are 2 fouls on the play, one against each team. Holding, offense, number 50. Personal foul, hands to the face. Defense, number 55. Those fouls will offset. Replay first down.
Ohio talked about playing clean football last week. 0 fumbles, drops, interceptions, sacks, things like that, penalties. We can't say that today.
No.
But it doesn't matter a little bit because of the scoreboard. But if you're Ohio, they are going to do their numbers in their system, in their 12% rule, as they call it. That's what they're going to coach up off of this film.
Pass sails over the head of the intended receiver, Embry.
For number 8, Jalen Embry.
Yeah, Tim Albin and his staff certainly will have plenty to coach up their players on this week and try to keep them grounded a little bit. Yeah, you blew them out, but it was really sloppy in a lot of areas, specifically with the penalties.
Yeah, definitely penalties. They had some false starts earlier in the game. See holding this week. Didn't see too many drops.
Well, you know, Spence Nowinski told us, he's the defensive coordinator.
Actually, I consider it a privilege.
Here on 2nd and 10. Bazelak steps out of bounds. Nowinski quoted Lou Holtz saying, when there's no crisis, create one. Use the naysayers from the internet or whatever. He's not going to have to look too far to find something to let your players know we got things to work on, just these penalties. And so many of them are so preventable that with a little more discipline, you can get rid of them.
And that's how you keep a team hungry and humble, is you have to chastise them when things aren't right. You praise them whenever they play well, but you have to nip things in the bud. And there's a lot of coachable moments that'll be on film for both offense and defense.
Could be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Bazelak checks it down, has a man. Staying inbounds after the pass is Finn Hogan, the former Central Michigan Chippewa, with his first reception of the afternoon. And that takes us to the 4th quarter. Bobcats cruising on top 38-0. Ohio's defense has been the story, allowing just 125 total yards of offense through 3 quarters for Bowling Green, just spoiling homecoming for the Falcons and their fans. Levi Gazarick, the tight end from North Baltimore, Ohio, with the catch to start the 4th quarter. So great to see him back on the field after he was carted off at the Big House at Michigan last week. Not expected to play, but he showed up in pads on Thursday ready to go, and that ankle has held up. Here goes Stewart. He is inside the 20, just making white jerseys fly off him. Finally roped down inside the 5-yard line. Well, he's a hip-hopper by the name of DeReal Bully. He was being a bully on this run. How many different Bobcats had a shot to bring him to the turf, and finally they get it done? Miles Fleming with the tackle. And so now Bowling Green gives it right back to Stewart, and he punches it in. There will be no shutout on homecoming. A 4-yard touchdown following the highlight reel run as Terrion Stewart and the Falcons on the board. Well, they worked with tempo, and you had to know they were going to feed the 5'9", 225-pound sophomore from Memphis, reward him and let him score that touchdown. And so now Alan Anaya on for his point after attempt of the day. He boots it through to make the score 38-7. A 6-play, 69-yard drive took only 2.5 minutes, and BGSU has its first points of the day here at Bowling Green.
I'm in Florida, eat wings, stop with Rick Ross. I got a little peanut with me, and we with your, you know she got tall from the south. You know we not east, no hot sauce. OJ gon' dust his, or get sauce by TK, you gon' get lost. It's just me, JP Nick.
That's Terrion Stewart, a.k.a. the real bully, and he's got some game in front of the microphone.
Yeah, he got some lyrics. I mean, he's spitting that hot fire, man. I mean, he's talking a little football, a little this and that. Somebody
got a little Rick Ross in there.
Yeah, eating with.
Team Wigless with the after the 28-yard line.
We apologize for the technical difficulties. Doug Sherman, Marcus Ray back at Bowling Green State University. We were talking about some of the flow from Terrion Stewart, who just scored a touchdown, the running back from Sandusky. You know, my one of my first concerts I went to back in 1984, Grandmaster Flash.
Oh yeah, great.
Hooked me, and that's what I listened to. That's what I've listened to for the last 40 years. So as a consumer of that music, I like what I heard.
I like it too, man. I'll have to check it out and tell my kids about it. You know what I mean? He said he was eating wings, stop with Rick Ross.
And indeed, that is the backup quarterback for Ohio, hit in the backfield. Parker Navarro, nowhere to go as Cassius Howell was all over him. Now he needs one of his teammates to help him with his shoulder pass.
Defense, number 0. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So that was on Howell. And oh, by the way, as a footnote, Bowling Green's Darren Anders, who we talked about off the top, has indeed gotten to 300 career tackles.
See that
Falcons
left hand.
defense.
Parker getting some snaps again here. They need to protect Parker if he's going to throw the football.
Yeah, former UCF Knight, spent a couple of years in Orlando. He's from Tempe, Arizona, but played for UCF for 2 years, got into 6 games. As much a runner as he is a thrower. He was a very good high school sprinter. And all of the touchdowns he was responsible for at UCF were running the football. Hands it off there to Ricky Hunt, freshman from Oklahoma City. He was a 3-star who chose Ohio University over Iowa State and Buffalo, getting a chance to run the rock. And we have an all-Parker battery. The center, Parker Titsworth, the starter, still out there. And now Parker Navarro standing behind him, waiting for the Parker snap. Hunt on the screen. Falls across the 45-yard line. That'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Complete out to 28, Ricky Hunt. Stopped by number 14, Davian Dale.
I like that play call there where you motion them back out. And really, it's another form of an RPO. If the defense doesn't shift out, you throw the flare. If they do, then you run the quarterback draw.
Well, this is Navarro's 2nd year at Ohio after transferring from UCF. Got into a couple of games last year and was 5 for 12 passing for 43 yards. 5 of 7, now 6 of 8 this year, replacing Curtis Rourke, who had a job well done. Efficient, 3 touchdown passes. Left with a 38-7 lead.
Ball start. Offense number 69. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
And that is the center, Titsworth.
Just show Parker some love, man, and then he cost you 5, Doug.
Well, he is the captain of those guys up front, but that doesn't mean he's perfect.
That's right.
High school teammate of Joey Porter Jr. at North Allegheny High School in Pittsburgh. He's from Wexford, PA.
We did not have a legal snap, so number 72 still has to sit out for 1 play due to his helmet coming off.
So Daniker comes back to the sideline, says, hey, my helmet's on. I was out there, come on. Rules are rules, Kurt. Navarro rolling right, has a man. Another short pass completion. This time it's Bryce Butler on the receiving end. And now the punt team will come out. Well, at this point, if you're the co-offensive coordinators for Ohio University, Marcus, Scott Isfording and Alan Rudolph, now that a lot of your starters are out, what do you make of what you have seen from your offense, from your #1 offense today?
Well, when you think about it, did the game plan work? That's what you want to ask yourself. They were able to throw the football, and then they played to their defense. And I think they probably need to run the ball a little bit better. But sometimes your game plan goes with the flow of the game as well.
And the flow of the game was the Ohio defense right from the start. We'll take a break with a timeout here at the Doit. Ohio's starting field corner, Justin Burchett, grew up in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, knowing about good barbecue. His father, Anthony, owns the Surrey County Smokehouse, and from that, Anthony has catered multiple meals for his son's football team. Now, mind you, he didn't just do it after the FAU game a couple of weeks ago when they were down in Florida. 2 years ago, Anthony catered a full meal for the Bobcats up here in Athens. Think about that.
Hey, man, that's called good business and good eating.
Man.
And you know what? I mean, those meals, you know, those aren't cheap either.
No.
That's a pretty penny to feed almost 150 people.
And to transport it 1,000 miles or whatever it is from here to South Florida?
Definitely.
It's a lot of expense. And especially the guys up front, they're big eaters. You can't just give them, you know, 1 roll. You got to come with 4 or 5 rolls.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I give him credit, and it sounds like the Burchett family is a big part of the Ohio program. And, you know, we've talked about the continuity of this Ohio program from Frank Solich to Tim Albin, and you look at Albin's coaching staff.
Yeah.
They remain intact again this year.
It's a family affair down there, and I mean, they added a couple of new pieces about a year and a half ago, and that was actually on defense with Nowinski, and then safeties coach John Hauser came over from Miami of Ohio as well. Look at him, still coaching, still intent, trying to get these guys to finish and play some good football.
Is that coach winning 38-7 or losing 38-7?
That man's resume, 2022 MAC Coach of the Year, offensive coordinator, 15, 16 years. People down in Athens thought enough of this man to name him as Solich's replacement.
Well, the Solich way, which is really the Tom Osborne way, really remains in effect in Athens. It's going to be short of a first down. They recruit, they develop. The culture, the continuity still matters. You remember back in the glory days at Nebraska, Osborne and his staff, of which Albin was a part of under Solich in Lincoln, all the invited and recruited walk-ons they had that they turned into all-conference players. I mean, there is a long list of guys who didn't have scholarship offers who not only were good to great college football players back when Nebraska was a national power, but who played in the NFL.
Definitely, and that's development too, and it's a family. I mean, that Osborne tree. Now, mind you, they split our championship in '97, so I'm not a big.
I'm sorry.
You know, you sitting here loving up.
I apologize. That's my bad. That's on me.
I'm just playing.
I should have realized.
Hey, but growing up, outside of Michigan being my #1 team, Nebraska, and I would say the Miami Hurricanes were 2 and 3. I always wanted to know what it was like to play for Osborne and Jimmy Johnson and those guys down there when I was growing up.
So Syracuse was 4?
Oh, the Cuse, man. No, not after what they did to us in '98 in the big house.
Oh, that was nice.
Oh, Donovan McNabb. He said he owed me one from AAU basketball because I crossed him over a few times, him and Antoine Walker.
Yeah.
So he came in there and took it to us. But what do you think about Bazelak, man? You know, tough night out. You know, didn't really never got into that type of rhythm offensively. And I think it was just there was something over the program today that just said,
Not going to be your day.
I mean, offense, defense, penalties, guys getting ejected. And, you know, Coach Leffler, man, he was honest. He was candid on our phone call this week. And he was just trying to figure things out, honestly, going into it. And they adjusted practice and was trying to figure out who was going to play and switching up personnel groupings. And then they ran into this buzzsaw that's rolling.
In a real tough part of their schedule this year, taking it on the chin here this afternoon.
At the 35 or the 25-yard line, Ohio will take over there.
At Bowling Green State University, where Ohio leads by 31 points. And MAC news and notes. Every single year we say the same thing, Marcus. You know MAC teams are going to knock off opponents from the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, wherever they match up. MAC schools are going to come away with wins, and that has happened again this year.
Yeah, congratulations to Coach Burns and Kent getting his first win. But you know, the MAC, especially with the evolution of the portal, the playing field is starting to get a little level. A little more, that gap is closing.
Navarro gets his second drive at quarterback, handing it off to Ricky Hunt, also out there at running back.
Navarro hands off to number 28, Ricky Hunt. Brought down on the play by number 2, Brock Horn. Gain of 1 on the play, 2nd down and 9.
And Ohio looking to move to 4-1 before an off week next week. The Bobcats aren't scheduled to play until 2 weeks from today when they're back home against Kent State. Another 3:30 kickoff. And after dropping that season opener at San Diego State, Ohio has had very much the look of somebody who could make it to Detroit for the MAC championship game this year.
Definitely, they're a problem. I mean, they're a complete football team, both sides of the football.
Here's that running ability of Parker Navarro. You can see his quick feet. Scampers out of bounds just past the first down marker.
Parker Navarro with the quarterback keeper.
But what do you see from Ohio? I mean, they are the defending champs of the MAC East and certainly in the mix to have a shot to get back. Tim Albin's got his team playing well today. What do you think their chances are of getting back to Ford Field?
I think their chances are really good. And like I stated earlier, it's going to come down to this Miami team who's got 55 points right now. I mean, it's going to come down to something has to give when these two teams play. But then they also have to take care of their other business. Don't get clipped by someone you shouldn't lose to. You know, so it's just 1 week at a time. But I think they have all the ingredients to have a championship recipe caliber team. I really do. They have a chip on their shoulder defensively. Offensively, you have a great quarterback. You have weapons. And then the play calling is just to it benefits the player's skill set. And this offensive line, I think, is one of the best in this conference. So I think it's all there as you look at the longest drought since the last MAC title. Look at that. You think they don't talk about that?
Oh, of course they do. So 1968, the last time Ohio University was crowned champion of the MAC. As the pile moves forward.
Is that 53, 55?
55 years.
5 years.
Yeah. 55 years since Ohio won. You know, in the 60s, under Bill Hess, they had a ton of success. They won the National Small College National Championship in 1960, 8 years before they won the MAC title. And again, under Frank Solich and under Tim Albin, they have been very, very competitive over the last 2 decades. It's kind of hard to believe that they haven't run into a championship during that time.
Exactly right.
That maybe this is the year for the Bobcats. Quintrell Quinn from Columbus, Ohio.
Hey.
You've been seeing this young man play football for a while.
Quintrell Quinn, Columbus DeSales High School, got recruited as a linebacker. He graduated the same year my son did. He was a great high school running back, but he played well on defense. OU brought this young man in. Then he had a couple of injuries. He went from linebacker to running back. He's a great football player, great young man. I actually played against his father. We grew up on the north side of Columbus.
How about that?
Kenyatta Quinn. So I tell you what, man, he comes from good stock, and he's playing for his brother. He lost his brother to an unfortunate, tragic gunshot 4 years ago. So he's playing for his family, man. You got to tip your cap to that young man. He's a strong kid, physically and mentally. He comes from a great family.
And Quintrell Quinn, 6'1", 217 pounds. He's a redshirt sophomore. Big and strong, like you said. He can move the pile, you give him the football, and he can make some stuff happen.
Yeah, he's pretty good. And the thing is he will be getting carries, but he's behind Allison and Bangura.
Yep.
So, you know, his time is coming. He just has to produce when he gets in there. But he made a position change as well.
Ricky Hunt back in there at running back. This is Hunt on the carry. BG's defense drops him for a loss. To make the tackle, Deshaun Jones Jr. He had a couple of interceptions against Ohio 2 years ago, including on the game's final play in the end zone right here in Bowling Green. And that'll bring up a third down for the Bobcats. Third down and 12. They've been good on third down today, 6 out of 11. Letting the play clock run down before snapping the football. Hunt taking advantage of his opportunity behind Bangura and Allison.
And up taken by number 28, Ricky Hunt. Stopped on the play by number 4, Deshaun Jones Jr. Short of the line of game.
So Jones again with the tackle. And with fourth down, the punt team will come out for the Bobcats. Jalen Embry back at his own 8-yard line, awaiting the Ohio punt. End over end, short punt, lands at the 15-yard line. And the Bobcats are just going to let it sit there. Trying to sneak the football out, Embry, but the coverage team said no doing, and now we got a little extra wrestling match on the ground. Justin Holloway in coverage for OU.
First touching on the kicking team. First down.
See what Bowling Green comes out with. Just try to. I would run the football. I wouldn't necessarily, do anything cute. Looks like they made a quarterback change as well.
That is Hayden Timashak. who last week at the Big House in front of 110,000 fans was thrown into the fire.
After being a scout team quarterback all week, next thing you know, you always one play away, sometimes two. And then Timashak's 6 of 10 on the season. Last week, 60%, 33 yards. He threw 2 interceptions.
Yeah. But under the circumstances, Coach Leffler was very positive with his remarks, both after the game and this past week. But obviously that was not the intent. And so now Camden Orth, who's also coming back from injury, their backup quarterback who had battled Bazelak during camp for the starting spot, not coming in here. So Timashak gets another opportunity. Flag in the backfield. On the run by Nick Mosley.
Young Mosley, another one of those Central Ohio products out of Pickerington Central High School. Good young running back.
Holding. Offense, number 56. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Armand. But they, young man, had a holding on Casey Seegers. They had a little bit of extracurricular going over there too. Trying to get out of this game, man.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of that here today.
And the season is about 1/3 over, you know, and you want to see improvement out of your ball club on both sides of the ball, win or lose. You just want to see improvement. You want to see clean football.
BGSU, short gain up the middle, and that Ohio defense putting an exclamation point. Now a flag comes.
5, Nick Mosley, flag on the play.
See what we have going on. 24 seconds left. It can't be too much going on.
After the play is over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 13. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Well, again, for Coach Albin and his staff, they're going to have things to talk about.
Definitely.
Despite a one-sided victory here today.
I think both teams got caught up in the emotions too, man, and lost sight of what the game was about, man. I mean, neither one of these football teams were penalized like this a week ago. Playing against Power 5 opponents.
Bowling Green has elected to take the 10-second runoff on the play. The game is over.
Well, that's how it comes to a conclusion. The Ohio Bobcats with a relentless defense.
Correction, there'll be one more snap. Please reset the game clock to 14 seconds.
10-second runoff when there's 24 left does not run out the clock. So we'll have one more play. But when your defense scores 14 points all by itself, sets up a 3rd touchdown with a short field, also all within the first quarter and a half of the game, it's a great formula, Marcus.
Definitely, definitely. Better team won today. Even though it wasn't as pretty as they would like, scoreboard definitely was a dominating performance by the Bobcats, and Bowling Green just couldn't get anything going.
Final score 38-7, and the folks who made the drive from Athens to Bowling Green happy with what Coach Albin and his team has been able to put up this year. That's 4 wins in a row to improve to 4-1, and a MAC victory for the Bobcats.
I always wonder what coaches really say to each other in that quick little 5-second snippet.
I bet you there's a wide array of what is said. Good, bad, and indifferent.
I would have told you, Doug, I'll see you next time, buddy. You understand that?
In case you couldn't tell listening, his teeth were clenched. And the eyes that he gave me put a shudder through me. So just so we're clear on that.
All Bobcats today, man.
Yeah.
Those guys did a great job in offense, defense. I think their defense is as good as advertised, though.
And now the Bobcats get a week to rest up, and they have, you know, everything out in front of them for the rest of the season.
They sure do. Scott Leffler's got some work to do. He's got to regroup those Falcons and try to soar and fly next week.
The Bobcats dominant on both sides of the football today. The defense, the headliner, the offense and special teams did their job as well. 38-7 your final score. For Marcus Ray, I'm Doug Sherman. For our entire staff, thanks so much for watching, and so long from Bowling Green, Ohio.